Hello everybody and welcome back to the Global Spec Racing. We are here for another season, Season 5. It is Tier 1, or no, I put Tier 1. I meant to put Tier 2, but that's okay. We'll fix that in a moment. But it's Tier 2, Round 1. It is the Chinese Grand Prix. And I am PMBO5, and I am joined by AF1 Master. AF1 Master, how are you doing?
Doing very well, thank you. Should be a good race here today. Been a good season opener for almost all tiers so far. So I'm hoping, and I know tier 2 is very competitive because I saw pre-season, but it should be a competitive race today.
Yeah, I've said this before to Axe, I've said this before to other people, that the lower tiers seem like the more competitive tiers. The lower tiers are very interesting to watch to see how drivers can do. I remember in the classic car race, F1 Boy, he said he spun out of the fallen corner, he's looking for redemption, of course. But yeah, this Tier 2 field is much closer than people think. I know people may elect to go to the mediums, start on those, go mediums hards. Some wheel players may go for softs hards. I mean, whatever you choose, there's going to be risks at it with whatever you choose to go for. Obviously, if you don't know me already, I am PMBO5, and I've been in the GSR commentary booth before. And obviously, if you don't already, I've commentated about every season, a lot of seasons before, and I'm glad to be back in the GSR booth this season, this time with you, AF1 Master. And if you're wondering why Square isn't here, well, yeah, I know you say that, Joe, but why Square wasn't here? He was having trouble loading up the game. He was having a bit of internet issues, so of course, I mean, before he goes to his PC, we'll try to get him in a race to commentate sometime. I should be available definitely during the, of course, this season, a lot more because of the off season of ARL. So I should be more active. I should be able to commentate more often and get more of these chances. As you know, Aid, I'm not always able to commentate every single race here, or be as active to commentate 3 races in a row or whatever it may be. You know, I've got to get back to that, I guess, with an off season of ARL. So I'm glad to have you here. And what are you looking forward to most about this race?
To be honest, probably the competitiveness of this field because well, of course we ended off last season with a 3-way fight for the championship.
Yeah.
And I reckon, from what I've seen in Tier 4 and Tier 2 so far this season, because Tier 4 yesterday was a very competitive race. So and this may seem a bit bold, but I'm probably going to expect very much the same from Tier 2.
Yeah, and I also really expect just this field to be close and really a battle for the lead. I kind of said to Axe, you know, you look at Tier 1, maybe it wasn't as competitive as it was this season. Or, sorry, maybe it wasn't as competitive as it was, you know, from last season to this season, right? The competition's much different. And you could definitely argue that's because the competitiveness has changed as well. I mean, when you got V2 Combat winning a race in F1 2020, picking up no penalties, that's definitely a shocker, and that's definitely a sign that the season will be competitive. And as we've seen before in Tier 3, safety cars are something that can happen. I mean, we've seen it in Tier 4, I'm pretty sure as well. You've got to keep your cool every single lap, and you cannot make a mistake. Because if you make a mistake here, it could rather be a big mistake or it could rather be a small mistake. But either mistake you make could change your race in a split second.
Still slightly annoyed about that yesterday, not going to lie, but we'll move on now. So, we now move on to Tier 2, with, at the moment, that F1 Boy, or Abra, is on provisional pole at the moment, with a 1:30.1. Looks very, very close to the top, just 0.08 of a second separating KDX and Abra. And just 0.04 of a second behind is NRC. So, from what we've seen in qualifying, of course this doesn't reflect their race pace, but it could very well do.
Yeah, and I honestly think you look at Tier 2 last season and the Tier 2 previous season, each season, the last 2 seasons, I know you weren't here for the previous season in Season 3, but the last 2 seasons of Tier 2, we've had a 3-way championship fight. Season 3 was Bobby the Human on the bottom, who had no wins whatsoever, but was very consistent. And you had Pluto and Hamilton, who were on top with the wins they had and the amount of podiums they had. The performances they had were incredible and great to watch, great to witness. You also had last season Beep Cheap, Davis, Archie, Cyberbot. Archie had a few wins in there. Davis had a few wins in there. Beep Cheap had a few wins in there. All those guys had wins, but it was really going to matter who was more consistent and who was better. And it really showed who the better driver was throughout the season. And I will say, I was in that season for a little while at the start, and I obviously know how much one race or two races or how many ever races can change your championship. Obviously, Davis and me and him were involved in a few crashes during the season. 2 crashes, in fact. So, 2 crashes could have changed that championship of who won it. So think about it. It's more last season for Davis was and Archie as well. He had some races where things didn't go his way. I know he mentioned before, you know, maybe not every decision was in his way. Maybe not every race was in his way. Whatever it may be. So of course, things got to go your way, and obviously it did for me in Tier 3, where I won earlier this week on Friday. You know, I got that late race safety car needed. I won the race. So you got to have the right luck. You got to have everything go your way, because if you have something go wrong, the championship will change in a split second. And I think looking at Tier 1 this season, we haven't had a Tier 1 season where the championship has gone down to the final race. And I think the Tier 1 season last season could have possibly gone down there. And now you think about it with this season, with V2 winning the opening race, you definitely could say the competition was better than last season. But now, will the championship go down to the final race? Because we've not seen that just yet. And Tier 2, for the last 2 seasons, has gone down to the final race with 3 drivers. With this competitive field, this field is so close. Look at GSR Luca goes to the top. It's around 1-2. Look at how close. Really, that top
Davis
12 are 8-10 separate them.
Yeah, it's crazy how close this field was. But you mentioned Tier 1. I don't mean to disrespect Cobra here, but I personally reckon the reason why it's so close this season is because Cobra has now left GSR, and now of course ARL. But we'll have to see if that continues.
Yeah, and I mean, I think about it as well, that it's not even just that, maybe. It's the fact you had people like Immortals, Matt Silva, and other people who are more competitive, and it's like, it adds to the fun, it adds to the competitiveness, and it maybe we'll have a championship fight that goes down to the last race that we've never had in Tier 1 before. Don't know. F1 Boy and Davis, they're back at the top as well. I know Davis, he mentioned before, at the end of the Tier 2 season, last season, he got into iRacing a little bit, had a little bit of fun with that. I know he was doing time trials for another league last night, and he kind of said, hey, I'm not really used to this game. I might need to practice. And I think maybe it's practice, because he's right behind F1 Boy, not too far behind. And I think that pull time may get just a little bit faster. I seen in Tier 1, it was 2,000ths between 1 and 2 on pole. And we may get closer than that. We may get close as of that. Who knows?
Yeah, my poll was pretty insane. I was not expecting that in the slightest, but the fact I got it by such a close margin just proves, well, how much Pluto was hounding me. And of course in the race as well. Because I had to keep on defending from V2 Combat and of course the 3 drivers behind it. It was a 5-way fight, which was actually quite a lot of fun. Because, you know, it gets more fun when there's more drivers involved.
Yeah, and obviously, we've seen it before in GSR, and we've seen it really in real life. Look at the 2018 and, well, I wouldn't say 17. 17 was kind of boring. Look at real life. The 2018 season. The 2018 season was a really good season, but it didn't really have a championship fight that you'd love to see go down to the final race. We may be on for a season that's very competitive in GSR, but it may not go down to the final race with 3 drivers or even 2 drivers. And like I said, that pull time was going to improve, and it has with KDX.
Yeah. I reckon Jensen's gone on a good lap as well. No, he lost a little bit in the final sector.
I went on riding board with one of these drivers on their laps. Who was on a lap? Yeah, let's look at Beep Cheap. He's on the softs now in Sector 2. You know, this corner, it depends what kind of setup you got. You can't keep it full throttle the full way. He always got a car on his right side right there. It's a double right-left-hander, and shift down to 3rd right here. Should be able to. I think he's maybe on automatic, so that might be the reason for he's shifting down to 3rd. And yeah, those 2 left-handers, you've got to be careful with how you handle them, because if you right there, yeah. And if you make a mistake through those two left-handers, and especially this corner right here, that's where you could lose a lot of time. I remember in the Tier 3, Red Bull spun. But I remember in the Tier 3 race for me in qualifying, I made one mistake right there, just before that just before that long right-hander. And maybe that's what was the difference in 500s. Maybe a mistake between you and V2 or whoever it was in second was the difference between 2000s. There's so much you can talk about, but this may look like a pole lap. You got to hit that final corner right. Don't go too far to the right. Got to hit that curb, though. And to the line, B-Chief comes for a pole position. 29.5 for him. Let's focus on the drivers coming to the front laps as well in a moment. F1 boy, I've seen him on time trial here at this track. He is so fast. He is so demanding. And he could be on for his first GSR podium this season. He should be with the competition. He should be maybe in this race. And I think, Aid, if you look at it and you think him in the classic car race, he was up on the podium, was up in second or third in the last lap, spun on the last corner in those conditions. And yeah, we don't know what it could be like. Now, you may know from the drivers, I might not as much. Will there be rain in the session? Do you know?
No, I don't, actually. I could probably check Discord, but I don't know at the moment. It's like all the other drivers until they actually get out on track. Which is what I actually like about dynamic weather. Right,
yeah.
Right, nah, I'm joking. Right.
It is dynamic weather next season. Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
You know, with that.
It's good that they're changing its dynamic, because dynamic, in my opinion, adds a bit of suspense there. I personally reckon. But, so, in that case then, who's your bet on for winning this race?
Whoever crosses this line first. No, on a serious note, though, you know, Beep Cheap, reigning champion, he's got to be coming into the season thinking of a lot of highs. I remember last season at the start, and even at the start of Season 3, you know, Season 3 was a big gap for the race win, and it was just a matter of, who stayed calm the most, who was the outright best driver. And it was really that first race, and this is the way it could be in most leagues, it's really that first race of the season that tells who is the favorite for this next season. Who is that favorite? Who is that guy going to be on top? Who is that guy going to be controlling the field at the start? And that was going to be Beatnik last season. But it wasn't. He didn't stay for the full season. So really, neither did I. I've gone to a reserve quickly. So then you got to claim Davis was the guy on top. Davis was the guy controlling. And then Beep Cheap performed well. And then he started getting good results. But we have cars coming to the line this time on laps. Let's focus on them. Beatnik is the guy who's going to be able to end in that lap. Yeah, I think I saw that as well. There's a Renault who spun as well. That is F1 boy who bend it. Oh, that's such a bad place to bend it. But you have so many other drivers. Red Bull's bend it. That's Bennett who's out. Yeah. But we have cars coming to the line, Aid. We have an Alfa Romeo this time. That's Leclerc who heads into sector 3. He'll be the first to cross the line as well. He should be 3/10 up. But yeah, checkered flag for a few people here. Beatnik is not able to get back to the line. That's who it was.
Can he take pole position off BG? Not quite.
Second row, third place for him. The McLaren as well comes to the line. That's FH. Or no, that's Jensen Bartley. Sorry, he's already completed the checker flag, but it's FH who's behind him as well. The Racing Point of Milo Gaming is coming to the line this time. Can he improve? He can only go 16th, but you have the McLaren behind. That is FH, who's a 10th down. Is his final sector a bit better? No, it's not. You have a train of cars. The Ferrari coming to the line. Spins out of the fallen corner. He's going to get damaged.
Where's Davis going to get? Oh, Davis invalidates. So, that's
Archie.
Red.
And goes to the line. He can't improve there, but you do have some people left on laps. Kostag goes to the front row.
What a lap from Kostak. That was really good. From the Greek.
Obviously, it was wrong. It was not wrong. It was over for the contenders up in the top 10, but the guys who were outside the top 10, clearly there were some people still finishing laps, and we don't really see that. But it was Kostag though, up under the front row. It's him and Beep Cheap. So, with this being said, 2-10 split, first through fourth. Beep Cheap, Kostag, KDX, and Leclerc all up there. It's going to be interesting to see if F1 Boy can still hunt for a podium. And I want to mention people outside the top 10 who may choose to go mediums to hards. Rossi was on the mediums. Milo Gaming outside the top 10 as well. Beatnik, FH. And I want to also focus on Jensen Bartley, who had some good races last season. He could be up there. Bama Outlaw as well. And, of course, you have these just guys who are coming in, of course, in the top 10. Luke, Bennett, and a few other guys who are just contending at the front and doing so well. Kostag was in Tier 1 last season, down to Tier 2, and he is on the front row to start off the season. Beat Cheap on pole as well in the Williams.
Beat Cheap showing why he is the reigning Tier 2 champion with a fabulous lap then from the Brit. Kostag, though, a big surprise there because, well, I know he was in Tier 1 last season, but he's been promoted to Tier 2 and he has delivered.
For sure. Now, me and you, like I know with the way I commentate, we'll be going over favorites at the start of the race, people who we think will gain positions, just do things impressive, win the race, or be a big storyline throughout the race. And of course, we'll be picking. We'll pick three different drivers from each other. So let's just say I pick Striker, Kostag, Bama. You pick three different drivers. So that's just the way we'll do that. But the session starts soon. Now, something that happened here in ARL, the partner league, earlier in the season was punctures, and people tried to do softs to hards in that race. There's a lot of people in that top 10 who start on the softs. I know Fruticos in the Tier 3 race, he was trying to do a 2-stop, in fact. That would have worked if it weren't for the safety car. But people who choose to do softs to hards in this race are going to have to be careful and are going to have to manage their tires just right. If you have a wheel, you should be able to do that very well. Now, here are my favorites to start off the race. You have Beatnik and Rossi on the hards, by the way. Just noting that while all the people outside the top 10 besides them are on the mediums. So, here are going to be my favorites. Beep Chibu starts on pole, the reigning champion. He's proving out here why he is the reigning champion. Going to start off the season well, on pole. I don't think he had the best preseason, but I'm pretty sure, like I said, he's one of those guys who can possibly be reigning champion again, and he can be a back-to-back champion. We'd love to see that here, but he's going to control this grid. He's going to start from pole. He has to have a good start if he wants to do well. F1 Boy as well in 5th, getting dive-bombed on the formation lap right there. That's a bit interesting, but F1 Boy right now looking for a first podium. He's yet to have one. And today could be the day. Last time when we ran the classic car race in this league here, F1 Boy was on for a podium. Binned it in the wet conditions. It looks very sunny the whole way through, I'm going to guess.
Yeah.
But with Codemasters games of how quick it could switch to the rain, you don't know. And F1 Boy, like I said, on for a first podium. This could be his track. He's very high up in the time trials at this very racetrack, so it could go well for him. I'm also going to go outside the top 10. Beatnik. He won the season opener in this race a season ago. It was back in Britain. He won the season opener. He did what he just had to win it. Just an amazing performance, and he's got to deliver here. He starts from 15th on the hards, which is an interesting tire choice, but he's got to deliver if he wants to do well this season. And especially with the caliper drivers, he has a bit more competition than usual.
That F1 Boy,
and
I believe.
Your three favorites,
right,
Aid.
First one I'm going to go is with Kostag. Here, I'm going with that because just Dylan Boy had a shock pole yesterday, and he went on to win. So I reckon shocks could maybe be the factor in this. Also, I'm going to go with Davis, a championship contender last season. He may not have done the best in qualifying, but I personally reckon, having seen his race pace, he can 100% make it up. And going outside the top 10, probably the most improved driver, I'm going to go with GSR FH444 because we saw his pace in Tier 3 last season. I know this is Tier 2 now, but I personally reckon he could do well this race.
Yeah, and speaking about FH, he almost won the Tier 3 championship, so he's got to come off of a lot of confidence heading into a new tier, really. Tier 2, promoting himself up there. You have the tire strategy from ABWS on the bottom of your screen, but the fiber lights are waiting to come upon us here in China for the start of the race. The run down to turn 1 is a bit tricky. It's a long right-hander. You've got to manage what you're doing very, very well. The fiber lights are coming upon us. It's fiber lights upon us in China. They rev it up for the start.
Here they
go for the fiber lights. It's lights out, and away we go. Beep Cheap, Kostag side by side up the line between the both of them. The Renault got a bit of wheel spin. And I think Luke has fell back, but Beep Cheap and Kostag side by side into turn 1. Kostag's got ahead. Beep Cheap still around the outside. It's Kostag who's still contending, and Kostag who's got the lead. Kostag's made up a place in the opening lap while you have KDX and Leclerc battling. Crash at the back. It's a bit of damage for Luck, and there's a big crash. It's a VSC. That's almost out of the race. That's Davis. Davis who spun.
Yeah,
Bennett as well.
Davis made contact with Bennett, and that has not worked out for them. But Kostag, a brilliant start off the line, and brilliant start actually for both the Alfa Romeos. GSR FH triple four though, the best start out of anyone. He's getting 9 places off the line.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Talk about a favorite.
I know.
Talk about a favorite.
So far,
Dougal,
it's like a good choice, but I mean, we'll have to see.
Yeah. Dougal, who's 6th as well, gained 4 spots for him. It's not bad for the Haas boys. They're running 6th, 7th. And yeah, GSR Luke is back in the session now. He's 11th. He's got back rolling, but it's getting closer and closer for the race lead. Look at on the safety VSC restart. Yeah, here he comes down the inside. It's going to go 3 wide down into the hairpin this time. It's Alfa Romeo versus the Williams of Beep Cheap. He's alone in the Williams while the 2 Alfa Romeos duke it out and battle him down the inside. Kostag drives off the racetrack. Beep Cheap's got it. He's got the lead.
Up the inside of Leclerc going into the final corner, and he gets it done. A brilliant move from the Alfa Romeo, but Kostag will be furious with that, and he will want to come back. He's going up the inside into turn 1. Can he get it done? Oh, he slides. But I don't think he can quite get it done because Bucci gets him back. Fabulous racing for these guys so far, but Kostag's still there.
They're still continuing it. Look at right here on the back of him. Now he's wheel to wheel. They almost make contact into the hairpin into sector 2. The Alfa Romeo's diving out on the AlphaTauri KDX as well, while Kostag and Beep Cheap still race wheel to wheel. It's now going to be Beep Cheap ahead into the long left-hander, now to the long right-hander. Will Kostag be able to get some momentum to be able to come back at him?
This is phenomenal racing for these guys so far. That F1 boy though, right on the back of the club. So if anything, we might have a 5-way fight, and another one for the
Tier 1
for the race lead. But in this case, at the moment, it's a 7-way fight with the 2 Hasses involved as well.
Yeah, and now the order fixing itself, of course, from Jensen Bartley being shown in the lead. I guess little good luck for him, I guess, showing that he's leading. But Leclerc is slipstreaming on the back of KDX into the hairpin. These 2 are close to one another. He's going to maybe look for a move down the inside into the hairpin. He's making contact right there for a moment, but it's Leclerc ahead of KDX, and now they're wheel to the last corner. Who's going to get ahead? Who's going to try to get the DRS and be behind one another when they get to the back straight? Look at that. He's through.
Nice move from the Alfa Romeo. And that F1 boy's going to try it around the outside. But just not quite close enough there from the Pakistani. But at the moment, still continuing the 7-way fight. But if anything, Big Chief is now starting to get away. He's starting to stretch the legs of that Williams. And, well, it could just be a commanding performance. But of course, I don't think you and I know Kostag. He would not want to give this up easily.
No, definitely not. No one would, and especially considering this is still the first part of the race. So obviously we had the VSC on the opening lap, so a safety car could still come out. Obviously DRS enabled on this back straight. DRS 44 and 40% between the guys 1 and 2, while you have back there KDX, who saved a little bit of his, 65% for him. So he's looking in favor of doing something right here, while all the guys in the top 7 will have DRS as we head into the hairpin. So overtake buttons will be abused here. It's just as simple as that. 7-10 separate the race leaders. Obviously, you're going to have Kostag gaining a little bit into the hairpin. Going to gain probably 2-3 tenths right here. Not close enough for an overtake, while Leclerc is kind of losing time to the guy in front, which is Kostag, and you have KDX, who is there to challenge. He's really looking for a move right here, KDX. He can't make anything happen there.
KDX very, very racy at the moment. Oh, Leclerc's in already. So...
Oh, he almost did a Hamilton.
Yeah. Thankfully, there's no gravel there anymore, but Leclerc's in very, very early. Don't know why.
Very.
He must be going for the 2-stop then.
Yeah, he is. It just showed in the AWS graphics that he is. He should be going for the mediums here, and I'm pretty
Bennett,
sure he is. Yes, he is.
Inside of Milo. Oh, that's close. And
These two
Bennett.
wheel to wheel.
Not quite.
Ooh, he's trying it to back down the inside. He's touched the back of him. And the other Red Bull, Beatnik, is there to fight him as well and kind of give him a little bit of a confidence booster to go on with it. Well, we have the Mercedes as well. Tunarchi diving down the inside on the other Red Bull. He's gone through and Beatnik, but he spun.
Oh.
He's now facing backwards.
That was really good.
Don't go backwards.
Those guys until, well, Tunarchi just binned it, but still got a 3-way fight there. But at the moment, yeah, Beachy is now almost out in that 1 second window. He will want to be out of that because that then basically gives him so much more free reign. I of course know that from yesterday. But the KDX is also, yeah, Kostag does not have DRS. So Beachy is, well, he's almost out of the 1 second window. That F1, oh, what happened? Oh yeah, Leclerc pit. That F1 boy with the, honestly, my brain's terrible today. But that F1 boy is just a massive lockup. And I see Islands now in. Probably going on the mediums as well. Any more battles? Along there.
Well,
Bennett's
you have Bennett and Milo once again. 11th place. This is in this race. Now it's going to be 10th place with NRC Island pitting. Bennett goes through. Milo looking for a switchback at turn 1. Now to the right-hander where they actually have to brake. And going to brake again. Milo has switched back. Switcheroo for him. But it's Bennett working it again. Right down the inside. Almost making contact right there. That could have been a whole lot worse. But luckily, Milo gets ahead of Bennett. Both on different compounds. And you also have Beatnik on the hards, who's behind that. I do be expecting Beatnik to go very long in this race. I'm pretty sure it was in tier 3 and I believe maybe tier 4, I'm not too sure, but there was someone in tier 3 who gone a long way on the hards, and obviously they came in, I believe, at halfway or around there. So obviously I expect those guys on the hards to be coming in pretty late in this race and kind of just stretching their stint.
I managed, well, I mean, my tyres were literally on the verge of punctures yesterday, but I took my tyres somehow 22 laps because I had to, because of course the 1-stop. But for me, what helped was actually a safety car. So really, for these guys, if they want to do the 1-stop,
all of them.
Oh, okay.
All of them pitting here.
Apart from that,
the top 4. Yeah, he's one of the only ones not to pit. In fact, where the Williams Alabama Outlaw does not. Now let's see what these drivers go for.
Go
for the mediums.
I think
they go the hards. Yeah, it's interesting to see this. Bennett gets a 3-second time penalty. He's one of the first people to pick up a penalty, and everyone here pitting is going for the medium. Well, half the people who pitted go for the mediums. The other half go for hards, which is Kostag and Beachy who go for hards. Mediums for KDX, and look at right there, coming out right in front of the path of Leclerc. Those two go wheel to wheel for just a moment right there, and oh boy, that was close.
Oh my! It literally just appeared at the side of my shot. That was wonderful to see, but I personally reckon Leclerc will want to get past Beachy. But I was going to say, the gap really closed up between Beachy and Kostag, because Kostag was about a second behind Beachy when they came into the pits. But once they came out of their boxes, they were almost side by side with each other.
Rossi is starting to struggle here, and he's kind of holding these guys up, both the Haas's right here, and they're going to be wheel to wheel into the left-hander. Don't make contact here. Be careful with it because you two could go spinning, but it's both the Haas's challenging here. It's the second Haas of Dougal trying to go ahead. They both got ahead now, and the problem with that is they're 2 seconds behind now of KDX Spire, the next car in front, so it's going to be a tough task for them to get in front, while Bennett and Beatnik goes ahead there for 7th place in this race, while you have Leclerc on the back of Beachy as well. He's still close behind. He can't make a move right there. He's not close enough.
Dougal gets past his teammate. So, 2 Hasses swapping around there. Bennett at the moment, the only driver on the grid to have a penalty. So that's not going to be great for him. That F1 boy's still not pitting.
Oh, hold up. We got Leclerc on Beep Cheap for second place. Well, net P1 this is. Down the inside, he's gone clear through. He's got ahead, and now he's got Beep Cheap right in his mirrors, and he's got to defend now. He was the one attacking. Now he's going to be the one defending.
It's for net P1 at the moment, but because Beep Cheap is on a set of hards, the Leclerc's basically about a pit stop behind him. Provided the fact Beep Cheap can take them that way, but that F1 boy really extending out his first stint. Might be looking on his tyres because they must be absolutely wrecked. Yeah, his tyres are absolutely shot at the moment. But I don't know what that F1 boy is doing.
Yeah, I think what he's doing though, in my opinion, he's trying to stretch out the strategy harder. He's trying to go longer on this stint. Obviously, you don't want to get a puncture or anything, or
Leclerc's already on the back of Bennett.
Yeah, that is 7th place. Yeah, and he's making the move right there while Beep Cheap sits behind as well.
Ooh, Davis speed.
Davis is out in the pit lane, that is. He's retired. It's not the best of races for him. While Leclerc's behind. Yeah, what I think F1 Boy's doing here is he's going longer to go to the hards, and he's pitting this time. Is he going to the hards?
Yeah,
That's a big question here.
Yep.
He is going on to the hards, so that's why he stayed out. He stayed out a little bit later to go to the hards and wait his turn, basically. While Bennett's done the same as well. Rossi with a penalty. So a few penalties here in this race. We got a yellow flag somewhere. That is coming out of the pits. That's an AlphaTauri, I think. It was coming out of the pits. That was just Davis's retired car, and that does get in the way of F1 Boy, in fact.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to say that this one's not really working for FH so far. I mean, he's in currently a net second from 17th on the grid. I know it will eventually catch up with him, but at the moment, FH doing a fantastic job up in second, considering where he started. Same could be said with Alabama Outlaw and Striker. These guys making the strategy work so far.
This race is not just over yet. I mean, a safety car could change. If safety car could change it, and we see drivers think running wide there at the two left-handers, you got to be careful not to pick up a warning for track limits right there, because I've seen many people do it so many times, and they start to struggle and they get a little bit frustrated with what they're doing. But the people on the hards who run. Well, the people on the different tires who run top 5, the mediums 1, 2, 3, 4 with Bama, FH, and Striker and Milo, and then you have Beatnik on the hards as well, all up in the front 5, waiting to pit, waiting their turn, waiting for their moment to shine in this race where they could pit and come out. I'd say they'd come out around 13th, 14th though. Bama, as he would lead this race, he'd come out around there. So all the guys who have yet to pit would come around that window. But it's more focused on that second stint. How much faster can you go, especially if you're Beatnik, who's on the hards. And Beatnik and Milo are in a little battle here, which Leclerc's caught up to the back of. So can Leclerc still hold on to 6th place if he's still being held up by these guys? Because he's still got cars to attack in front, but he's got cars to attack, protect from behind, which is Beep Cheap, Kostag, and KDX, which are still very close to him. And he cannot afford a mistake because he's stuck behind these guys. And now in Sector 2, getting stuck in the dirty air will not help one bit.
Absolutely. But at the moment, these also another thing I want to say is the fact that the wider you go through a long, fast corner, actually the more it punishes your tyres. Because the thing is, people like, well, Beachy, for example, he may be keeping up now, but he'll only be taking nice tight lines, especially through this corner, turn 13, as you saw him doing there, because well, here comes Leclerc then. But Beachy would want to be doing that to minimise the tyre wear.
For a moment there, they were going to go 3 wide. They were close to doing so, and right there in the background, Leclerc on the outside of Milo Gaming. Beatnik and Leclerc have got ahead of Milo, while Milo is still probably going to be staying out for the next few laps to pit here in a few laps' time, while you have Beatnik, Leclerc, and Milo. The front 3 out of this train, while Leclerc is coming back at it. He really wants a position on Beatnik, because if he gets that position, it'll be 2 cars separating him and Beep Cheap, which that's what he'll like. He'll love to hear that. and now down the inside. He's trying to go through. He's going to have the outside line now to turn 3 right here. On the outside of Beatnik, both are wheel-to-wheel right here. Leclerc still hanging around the outside. He's got the move on Beatnik right there. He's got ahead.
Absolutely phenomenal move from Leclerc. And, well, he is showing why he wants to get what I call first blood in this championship.
Look at the train for 4th place on back. It's all the way back to 11th in this race. The train from each car onwards. It is insane. I mean, we're going to have a real battle on our hands. And all these drivers who are in these trains, except for Beatnik and Milo, are still going to be contending in this race for a race victory. Rather, that depends on a safety car, or rather, that depends on the strategy. Because you're going to have two people on one strategy where it's a one stop here for Beep, Cheap, and Kostag, but you have the rest of the field in this train as we've got a spin. That's KDX now. Luck is out as well. That may bring out a safety car. Speaking of safety cars, it's yellow flag in Sector 2. He's actually retired on track.
As well.
It would be retired if you prefer in the pit lane, but he's retired on track. Rossi goes by Tom Archie and KDX as well, who spun right there. KDX looking for a move down the inside of Rossi as well. Can't get a move right there, but why I mentioned it's important for people like Beep, Cheap, and Kostag, as Kostag, he's fell down the order too. He may have been involved in that spin, but it's important for guys like them to manage their race and manage what they're doing compared to the people on the mediums, who it's a different story for them. And yeah, Dougal has passed Beep Cheap, who's on the hards. So
Beep Cheap's got front wing damage.
Oh.
So
he has.
Disaster for the Brit. Oh, what a shame. It's such a strong qualifying, and now it might be all over because Bennett retired in the pits. But how did BG do that?
Something happened with the KDX incident. We didn't really catch it too much. I think NRC Ireland, he may have damage as well. I don't know. I can't see from this angle. No. We have side-by-side racing in front. Milo gets passed by Dougal. Positions trade there. And yeah, I don't see any damage on NRC Ireland, but oh, he's really on the back of Beepchi right there, trying a move. Can't get close enough. Yeah, Kostag, does he have damage as well? No, he doesn't. He just fell back. Maybe a part of that spin. But you could tell from that crash with KDX, Beep Cheap's got damage. And like I said, that train was 4th to 11th. Now it's only 5th to about 10th. So it's kind of fell back. And here we go. Beep Cheap on Milo into the hairpin. Beep Cheap going through right there. Milo having to yield right there. Position straight right there. NRC Ireland on the back of him. Hits the back of him for a moment. But right there, Beep Cheap's ahead.
Yeah. I don't know if BG would want to ticket that because, well, I mean, it's 3 wide.
Anderson Allen, a double overtake from him. That's Mika Hakkinen, stuff from Belgium in 1998 right there. Or sorry, 2000s that was, where that overtake happened in a 3 wide moment with lap car. That was so much similar. Spa on the Camel Straight.
Not quite close enough for him there, but I gotta say, a lot of action in the first half of the curtain opener of Tier 2 Season 4. Again, as I said, this field is incredibly competitive, as we are seeing.
Yeah, Immortals pinged us both saying medium guys will pit lap 11 or 12. He knows this from heart, so yep. Immortals really giving some vital information right there. But those medium guys should be pitting very soon for the hards. Those guys who are pitting for the hards, mediums to hards, they should be able to make it the whole way through. And we'll be seeing this time if Bama does pit. But under the back of 5th place, there's a battle between Dougal and Beatnik. Positions may trade here soon while Leclerc's in the back of Striker. Into the hairpin, Leclerc trying to make a move around the outside here. At the hairpin, Leclerc.
That's
move done. If he can go around the outside, he's done so. Behind that, Dougal and Beatnik. Close between them. Beep Cheap's going by Kostag while both of them make contact again. Beep Cheap spun out of it. Beep Cheap has spun after contact.
It just gets worse for the Williams driver, but I don't know what's going on at the moment because, well, I mean, I saw a little bit of this when I was commentating Tier 4 yesterday. There was just itty bitty incidents that I just didn't understand why that happened. There was, of course, the R2G one. There was the GSR Grosjean one. It just confuses me sometimes. Sometimes, I know I'm being harsh here, but sometimes what goes through these drivers' heads to do the things that they do. Because, well, I know we do have good quality racing in GSR, and well, I can say that off experience, but
Yeah.
sometimes the drivers just need to use their brains a bit.
Yeah, not even that as well. When making a move, you gotta think, will this work? Is this the right corner to make the move? And because I've seen people make moves at corners way too early, and you see Kostag actually getting in the back of Milo right there, touching his gearbox for a moment. But what I mean is that there's drivers who make moves who don't think of what they're doing before they do it, and then they just make it, and then they pay the price for it. While Kostag is alongside Milo for position in 8th place. This is. Kostag really cut him off right there for a moment, trying not to have Milo get the slipstream. While you should be seeing some of the medium runners coming in very soon to the pits, not just yet for them. They elect to stay out.
In comes out.
NRC Ireland.
It's on Nick and gets it done.
There you go.
Moment though, surprisingly, I know Leclerc's not gaining as much as I thought he would on GSR FH 444. FH has now taken those tyres half distance, so I probably suspect he will be going on the hards very soon, as will Leclerc, of course, on another set of mediums. But at the moment, FH strong pace on those very worn mediums.
And think about it. People like Leclerc, people like Dougal, people like NRC Ireland who've already pitted are going to be on that 2-stop, so expect them to pit again. So when that happens, when they all pit, it should be Kostag and F1 Boy, the front two on the hards, which they'll be really, really pushing the limits to make sure they make it to the end. Where Bama would be coming out right now would be about 10th place, especially after all the spins and drama we've seen from the opening half of the race. So, yeah, I think those guys who are on the mediums, they've got to be pushing. They've got to be doing what they can. Obviously not to waste their tires, but they need to push to get to that second stint of theirs. Well,
Alabama stays out.
The last one.
Does FH come in? Yes, he does. So in comes the Irishman.
Striker as well. He comes in. So yeah, heading to the pits is both them. So they're choosing to go a little bit later on their tires. Of course, any of the top people who've yet to pit, I don't expect them to go into softs. That would be a bit bold. While we see KDX overtake F1 Boy right there. Position swap as it's Toon Archie speeds in the pit lane. I keep getting that name wrong. Of course, still new to some of the names this season. So obviously you'll see a little bit of mess ups right there. So I do apologize for that one.
Yeah. Carry on.
I was going to say the penalties as well have been kept very clean by these drivers. You can see a lot of the Tier 2, obviously you mentioned the quality of the driving. Well, the quality of that corner cutting has actually been a bit better than I thought it would. Usually most people just pick up warnings on that last corner. And out of turn 10, as I speak about that Leclerc, that's huge for him. Only 4 penalties in this race, though, from the drivers for corner cutting. Not too bad from the 17 drivers left in this race. So 13 of them not picking up penalties so far either. So
Leclerc's round.
Oh, yellow flag. Leclerc.
Oh, he spun it.
Oh,
on the exit.
No.
Turn 13. Disaster for the Alfa Romeo driver. Oh, what a shame. But that means Dougal is now up into the race lead.
He will be with Bama, definitely pitting now. And that race lead right now, gonna overtake him while he's in the pit lane. Race lead for Dougal, and it's gonna be a Haas 1-2.
In comes Alabama then, onto a set of
Racing Point is spun. That's Rossi at the very back there, not having the best of races. He's 17th. He's very kind of lonely at the back. He would be hoping for a safety car. We've already seen a VSC put out. Bennett's left the session. He's already out, so that don't really matter. Mediums for Leclerc, going on to a 2-stop, so he's currently outside the points with that spin. But if he didn't have that spin, I don't think he'd be outside the points as things stand as well.
Yeah, But
It is getting darker too.
as far as I can tell, I think it's Kostag in the net race lead, ahead of Alabama Outlaw, and then Dougal, and then NRC Island. It'd be a good result for Haas if they can keep this up.
Yeah, considering they still have to pit, I mean, they're going to come out 8th, 9th, whatever it may be. And there's still people behind him on the medium, such as GSR Luke, KDX, who both have to pit again. And think about in the hards, Kostag, F1 Boy, Bama Outlaw, Beachy, FH, you know, if a safety car comes out, things could change. I know I had the safety car come out in Tier 3, went to the softs at the very end, and people may choose to do that if a safety car does come out late, which it did come out around this time, so it could come out very late. The race could change, who knows, but the two race leaders, yeah, they were thinking about both double stacking for a moment, it looked like, but as soon as Island saw Dougal coming into the pits, he thought better of it, and Dougal coming in for his final stop of the race, he should be coming out around 8th, 9th place, but considering GSR Luke has a penalty, the results may change with the guys who have penalties. Even Leclerc, who sits back there too, he has a penalty. He's got great pace shown from this season so far, even in preseason, so penalties may change the difference in races. We've seen it before, so if you get a penalty, you don't really want it. You don't want to keep it.
Dougal's got to really push now, though, to try and get
especially
back
close
up.
to GSR Luke too, because that 3 seconds could change the difference if he doesn't overtake Luke, of course. And yeah, mediums for him. Luke will have to pit again, so that may change. Same with KDX, same with NRC Island. They all have to pit again, which will put Beatnik and Kostag 1-2 with that. But again, Beatnik is still yet to pit. He may be trying a bold strategy here as it gets cloudier and cloudier and cloudier. The rain may come at the end of the race, which is maybe why Beatnik chose to go to the hards. That may be why, but it could also be why, because of the fact he could have gone hards to softs, which that's maybe what he's thinking in his mind. Extend these hards a bit long, go to the softs at the end, do that, and try to finish the race very strongly. He could do a charge for the field, and it would be similar to the strategy GSR Pluto did in Season 4 Baku, where he gone to the softs at the end, charged for the field, won the race from it. So if Beatnik does this right, he can maybe go under the softs and charge for the field, while the race leader, NRC Island, is pitting. Beatnik as well chooses to pit as well. So he's under the hard. Oh, he's on the hard. He's pitting.
Gets it done. Yeah, but you talk about comebacks. He's almost have to come back like, well, mine in Hungary last season in Tier 2. In comes Beatnik there. Beatnik's already pit then. So clearly not going for the strategy that you thought he was going to go for. But NRC Island's in as well. So Leclerc's actually quite close to them now.
Yeah, Striker Jensen as well. It was close between them. Jensen's been on the hards ever since the start. He pitted after whatever happened in lap 1. The hards, I've seen people get punctures from those amount of laps in the hards. He's probably gonna have to pit again if he isn't careful. And the Red Bull down the inside of the Ferrari of Striker, Beatnik on Striker. Striker switching back right here out of turn 6. This is. He's looking for a move to the main. Can't do so right there. So it's Kostag, KDX, F1 boys. So with KDX going to be pitting in the next few laps, it's Kostag, F1 boy, and Bama, the guys who are on the podium as of the hard runners, who will be doing that one stop. But again, people like Kostag and F1 boy, be careful for a puncture.
Yeah, but the difference is that Kostag, and that Kostag especially, has to really conserve, whereas Alabama Outlaw, he can literally just go flat out. Because the hards 100% gets to the end. Who's that? I think that's Toon Archie. Yes, it is.
Yep, it is. Jensen and Beatnik, it's trading spots right there. There's a Ferrari at the back. That's downward leaf. Leclerc's on the inside of Striker as well, making contact at the exit of the corner, pushing him a bit wide, but Leclerc goes ahead of Striker. That's for 12th place, and he does have a penalty, which will matter at the end of the race if he wants to score points, because 10th position is not too far up the road.
Yeah. Alabama Outlaw, though, all over the back. Sorry, that's that F1 boy. He's all over the back of KDX. So it's kind of a three-way fight at the moment. Of course, KDX is still yet to pit, I'm wondering, is KDX taking it longer so he can go on the softs at the end? I wonder.
Well, speeding the pit lane is downward. He might retire the car. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
How'd I know that? But KDX, the thing with him on the mediums is that, you know, I look at it, it's getting more cloudier and cloudier and cloudier by the minute. Is there projected rain at the end of the race? Obviously, those guys in the mediums going up to 15 laps, so, you know, I think it sounds bold, really, Aid, but he could be going to the softs at the very end.
Yeah.
He could be.
Here comes that F1 boy, though.
And
On
that may work.
KDX now. Oh, KDX. Defends to the inside. But that could compromise him, but no. That F1 boy does not try to switch back. Of course, he's got another
Might be
straight
cheap
to
as
go.
Pitting.
Yeah, KDX is now in. So now we have our 3 hard runners left, and Dougal, who will now be charging, as we saw with his fastest lap. So as soon as he can dispatch of Luke, then he'll go charging after Kostag, that F1 boy, and Alabama Outlaw. I still don't know if Kostag can get to the end though. I'm not convinced at the moment because his tyres are not looking great.
Yeah. The guy I'm more concerned about than Kostag, though, is, especially Beachy with the damage he had, and the damage he still has.
Yeah.
How much is he pushing it? How much is he, abusing those tires? And mainly I'm more concerned for Jensen, if anybody, because he's on 17 lap hards, and it's going to be 25 lap hards by the end of this race, and, with him, those won't be able to make it. KDX is going under the softs and is trying to pass Milo as well. Oh, look at the traction he's got right there. He's just got to be patient. But, no, like I mentioned with Jensen, 17 lap hards, which will be 25 by the end of the race. I've seen punctures at this track on 21 lap hards, 20 lap hards. It's happened before, so it's not uncommon, and that could be a concern for Kostag as well. Alabama Outlaw goes wide. Very wide. Off the track. That's allowed F1 boy to go through. Dougal on GSR Luke. He made a move right there as well, while KDX is going by Milo for 13th place in this race, where KDX could be contending for points by the end of this with his new softs.
Yeah, in comes GSR Luke then.
Sorry, Luke.
I reckon GSR Luke's going on the softs. He's got to be, because there's only 8 laps left, and yep, the red wall tyres, on they go for the final 8 laps for the Irishman. So now we have our genuine order. Kostag still leading. He probably want to prove me wrong after what I said, but still, it's gonna be tough for him. He stopped on lap 4, and that means he's got to do 24 laps on those tyres, which is a big,
like I mentioned.
Big ask.
Like I mentioned, the only thing that could really save him, and I think it could really save him if it happens, is if it rains at the end of this race. Why I mention that is because the clouds have got so much darker to the point where it really could rain, and Bama's going to have DRS this time. I think down to the hairpin, he should be able to.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
He's not within that second range, but where he was at the detection point really mattered for that DRS, so that may play a difference to get him back into a second.
Yeah, because Alabama, he actually ran. He actually did exactly what you were talking about earlier. He got onto the curb on the exit of turn 13, which lost him probably about 3/10, I'm gonna say. So very, very crucial. FH on the back of Beatnik now.
Yeah. Sorry to cut in there. I thought they were side by side for a moment, wheel to wheel. You know, you can try to go side by side, wheel to wheel in that last corner. It may not end well, but they were trying it for a moment, and KDX steals the fastest lap point away from who else ever had it, while FH on the hards, Beatnik on the new mediums, able to challenge one another.
Yeah. Kostag is now getting caught by that F1 boy, and Alabama Outlaw, and of course Dougal. So we have a 4-way fight for the lead here. But this is literally the calm before the storm.
Yeah. And even with Kostag tires, I think his tires are actually starting to die out more. Obviously, you see F1 Boy lock up, but F1 Boy's closed that gap a good 2-3 tenths to where this race lead could be close toward the end. And Bama Outlaw could be on for podium as well. Obviously, you know, Tier 1 champion 2 seasons ago, got demoted really down to Tier 2 the season after, and it wasn't a good season last season for him. It was Monaco race win, but that's really about it. That was one of his only highlights, and he could be on for a podium as well at China.
Yeah.
Behind that, NRC Ireland on Beep Cheap for 5th place. Beep Cheap's got some damage, while NRC Ireland gets him moved on pretty easy.
Yeah. It's almost like the move is. It's almost like that straight's a little bit too long because, well, I mean, you saw with V2 and well, I know I'm referring to myself a lot, but still, it's true because V2 had a massive advantage simply because of that massively long straight. I know they activate until about halfway down that straight, but still, it's a little bit like Portimao. It's a bit too easy to overtake there on DRS.
Yeah. And you also have KDX on Jensen as well, 10th place in it. Yeah, like I mentioned, it was getting a bit darker, but it's kind of got a little bit lighter as well. I mean, maybe the weather's just trying to play with us here. Trying to joke around here, I guess, and try to think we're getting some rain, but we're really not. It doesn't look like it, so... Of course, it's got a bit brighter, and KDX trying for some points as well. Down the inside right there. Try to move, switched back right there. Kind of pulled a Daniel Ricciardo type of move, you could say.
Yeah.
Was looking to do it, but couldn't do it right there. And Bama is still within DRS of F1 Boy. Well, F1 Boy, he fell back that last lap. He could be on for his first podium. I don't want to curse him. I really want to see him do it. But again, you just want to see him get a podium. It's been most 4th places in this league as of recent with, you know, before a podium. So, of course, you'd love to see a podium from F1 Boy, but it could also be the win, too. I want to check the top. Kostag, a warning from the first lap. Nothing else. That may have been for contact. Well, F1 Boy, he is on the verge of a penalty. That a few laps ago, he ran a 34.6, while Kostag's last laps before that, his best was a 34.9. So F1 Boy, he's doing better lap times, but the concern is for him, he could pick up a penalty. He's got it warnings to spare with Bama.
Not risking it. He's coming now.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you also have as well Bama just on the one warning, which could have been for a collision on lap 1, while Luke diving back down the inside of Milo, looking for a move at turn 2 right there, couldn't do so. FH in the back of Leclerc looking for first points in Tier 2. FH could be very interesting to see that happen. But he could be on for 8th as well. So same with KDX because of the penalty situation with Leclerc. Leclerc's got 3 seconds. And even if Luke tries to overtake Milo and gets by him and charges up, the worrying part for him is the penalty. And again, the race lead has got much, much closer. It is so, so close. Once again, less than a second now.
Interesting thing to see, though, is the fact... Oh, June Archie's out. But interesting thing to see is the fact that look at Kostag's Zers compared to that F1 Boy and Alabama Outlaw. He's got a lot more to play with. So, unlike the Tier 1 fight yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had literally nothing left to play with, whereas Kostag almost has the upper hand. But the difference in him is the fact his tyres, they look pretty ugly now, let's be real.
And they need to last. That's the problem. He's got 2-lap worse tires than F1 Boy. And if Kostag somehow gets a puncture or something goes wrong with him, F1 Boy, his first podium, if it happens, could be a win. And I know I usually put that curse on people, but I don't want to do it this time, and I don't think I will do it this time. But there still are 3 laps remaining next time by in this race, so anything can happen. He's close to DRS. He's within a second now. He's got to stay within that second by the detection point in about 10 seconds time. He's 8 tenths within him. It could be just ever so close. The ERS between both of them, F1 Boy's really going to be in a bad position here when it comes to ERS. But Kostag, 52%, so he has more to play with. He's kind of been on that protective mode, that defense mode for the lead. 7/10 separate them. F1 Boy using the overtake button, engaging it for just a moment. 6/10 the race lead is, coming to 3 laps to go this time. 5/10 now, 4/10 now. It is getting ever so close between these two.
Oh, he really breaks late, does that F1 Boy. He's a double lock up there into the hairpin. That will not help his tyres at all. That's what I've been seeing from that F1 Boy. He's been locking up a lot, whereas Kostag is not. I don't know if Kostag's not running ABS or not, but
come to contact for a moment. Leclerc passes off the racetrack right there, while Beep Cheap is still there to challenge. 4/10 that race lead is between F1 Boy. Little lag moment right there between Leclerc and Beep Cheap.
Yeah, but that F1 Boy this time though staying with Kostag. So Kostag's tyres are running out of life and rapidly.
Yeah.
It is. Well, I do want Kostag to win this, but it's going to be hard for him to do it. Jenson Bartley sets the fastest lap, but now Alabama Outlaw, and he's got half the wear of these guys, so he could really be a force to be reckoned with at the end of this race. And Dougal's now getting onto the back, which is 2 laps to go.
Emma almost lost it right there. He may have lost his... No, he didn't lose a chance of DRS, but he almost lost the rear of the car there. That could have been race over for him, but the lead is close once again with first and second. DRS is going to be enabled for F1 Boy. He's gaining on Kostag once again for this race lead. 2/10 now. It's getting ever so close, and here comes F1 Boy down the inside. He's looking for a move. Can't do so right there. Locks up. Gets in the back of him. But here comes Bam Outlaw in the back as well.
He may try it. Just 2 to go. 4 for the race victory. This is phenomenal stuff. But here comes Alabama Outlaw then. On that F1 Boy. I don't think that F1 Boy is going to land through, and he doesn't. But Dougal is also in this. Dougal is on the better tyres. This is a fabulous end to this race. Yet another lockup from that F1 Boy. So, if this is what every single Tier 2 race is going to be like, I'm excited, mate. I really am.
Yeah. Hopefully. And hopefully it's the same way in the championship. This close, 3 drivers, and you see as well, on the medium tires, Dougal's got in the back here. Let's check his warnings, because the first and third have about 1 warning there, and Dougal has 2 warnings. So, again, Dougal and F1 Boy, they're close to a penalty, while Bama and Kostag not so much. Beep Cheap's got by FH, and they're still within that gap to Leclerc where they could beat him off penalties, and F1 Boy locks up once again. He just can lock up, and if he does that again, he's going to be costing himself a win here.
Potentially.
And could be costing himself at a podium as well.
Kostag's got a good gap though this time, so I don't reckon that F1 Boy's going to go for it, but Dougal's going to go for it on Alabama Outlaw. To turn 14, he goes, locks up a little bit, but a lot of contact there, but Alabama Outlaw stays with him, going on to the final lap of this race. That's a phenomenal move from Dougal, and I think he's got it done, and he has. Alabama Outlaw's going to try it round the outside, but Alabama Outlaw's still back up the inside, but Dougal's got him back. No, Dougal's now up into 3rd, but who is going to win this race? Is it going to be...
Bam Outlaw still challenging back. He's back into turn 6, the hairpin this time around the outside. It may be too little too late for these guys. Contact made. KDX has got a penalty. You have as well these two still battling it out. And now Dougal's got ahead. Bama's still challenging into turn 8, that is. He is still there while the race lead is still close. 4/10, now 6/10. F1 Boy locking up once again.
Kostag goes very, very out turn 10, 11. Dougal is now right with them. It's a bit like a Kimi Räikkönen and Vettel moment from Nürburgring in 2013. But it's so close between them. That F1 Boy, he's got gap down to where he needs to be. Final lap.
Looking for his first podium. Here he comes. for the win. Here he comes.
that
Which
one
way does he
boy
go?
gotta
Down
go
the
on the
inside. He's looking
inside.
for it around the outside. Clips the grass. Locks up. Contact made. Back switching back.
Kostak
He's
keeps
down
it.
the right side. Now heading into the last corner. Can he try and move? He's got in the back of him.
brilliant.
He's moving him out of the way. He's got the
That's one
lead.
point.
He's gonna win.
He's got
Last
him.
lap. Last corner. He's gonna win. He's gonna win
What a
on the
finish.
last lap. F1 boy, it's the last corner on the last lap for a first podium. F1 boy, how about that stuff right there?
This is why you should bloody check GSR out, because of things like that. Wow, what a dramatic end to the Chinese Grand Prix for Tier 2 Season 4. And that F1 boy snatches it away from Kostak on the final
He-
lap.
Badly wanted that. He didn't just want a first podium, he wanted a win right there. And he leads off the season with a win.
Oh my,
That was a.
what a race. What a race from
I
these
don't-
guys. And we've got
don't
that
think
F1 boy in now. Wow.
I don't think I deserved that one.
Why?
I think I kind of hit Kostak in the very last corner, so sorry for that.
No, I'm not having that. That should be a penalty. It's recorded on stream as well. Come on. But that's not nice.
Man. Anyway,
I'm lucky I
guys.
didn't drift there and could just go off.
Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, guys, what a race you put on for us. I mean, what a dramatic ending to that race. We'll start with that F1 boy. So it was a very, very consistent drive from you. Your first win in GSR. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's good, but I was just trying to manage my tires and try to keep the tire wear low, and that's what gave me the extra pace over Kostak at the end. I didn't think that his defending was very good because I almost went to his back at the last corner. Then I don't know if that will stay, but it's good for now.
Yeah. You went actually quite a way at the start of the race. Was that always planned in your strategy, or did you do it because Kostak pitted early?
No, from the very start I was planning to get late into the race, and my tires were not that bad. I was able to manage 7 laps at 65-66%, so it worked out in the end.
Yeah, fantastic time management for you there to keep the tires out of the puncher window. But we'll just wait for P&B to come back.
I'm here.
Okay, so P&B, do you have any questions for that F1 board?
Well, it's your first podium. I could tell you were really trying for the win. Last lap, last corner. What was your thought in the move? And obviously you had a podium locked up. Were you thinking, I got the podium or a first win here? What were you thinking on
Yeah,
that?
definitely. Since it's my best track, I definitely wanted to win that. I was pushing so hard on Kostak at the end. I missed my braking point and pushed him a bit wide, but I think it's still fair enough because he stayed on track and it wasn't that aggressive. It was just racing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, I guess let's get that other side of the spectrum on the last lap, last corner. Kostak, make sure your audio is included for the post-race interview. Second place for you. You had yourself in control of the race. You just had to defend right there. You were on the worn hard tires compared to F1 Boy and the guys behind. How did you kind of look at those last few laps and your defending and, of course, the last corner?
I mean, okay. At the start, the softs were going off like crazy. You had to go for those. So you hit lap 5, and I'm like, okay, at the end, I'm gonna be with dead tires. I knew that. And then the last few laps, I was just sweating it to keep it on track because I was legit drifting everywhere. And then on the last straight, I kind of just tried to keep it in the middle of the track, kind of defensive to the inside and kind of in the middle of the track. It didn't really work out because we went side by side into the last corner. And then I just felt a tap. and I went like opposite lock towards the outside, and I had to like it was so weird because it probably looked like a little tap, but my car just like almost died coming out of it. I was on
Now
like
I know there's
70
been some
something percent.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Now I know there's been some controversial opinions on that last corner. Obviously, F1 Boy hit you in the back. I know it's people could claim it's hard racing. It's the last lap. People are gonna go for a win, and as well, he moved him out of the way. That wasn't fair how he got the win. What did you kind of think of it? Should it be a penalty? I don't. What do you kind of think of the incident? I know it was a bit argy-bargy on the stream a little bit. Wasn't that bad, but it was a bit argy-bargy, it looked like. Obviously, you're the driver. You probably got hit worse than the stream looked like it. So, what did you kind of think of the last corner? Penalty or no penalty? What do you kind of think of it?
Okay, I think that's definitely up to the stewards to decide. But if you're asking for an opinion, I would say yes, because if you take into consideration, we've done about 23 laps on those tires. I got 23 laps on those tires. I'm on 70%, and you're on like 60 something as well. You gotta think that a little touch is not gonna be just, oh yeah, whatever, it's a touch, hard racing. I could have just ended up in the wall there. Like, if you look at it from my end, I had to completely counter steer it, going through like a flat left, not a flat, but like a high speed left. I had to counter steer completely right to stay on track. Like, you can't do that when we're on such worn tires.
Well, that's the other side of the spectrum. 8F1 Master, do you have any questions for the second place finisher?
Not particularly, but a little bit unlucky from you there. But anyway, congrats on your podium.
I wasn't really a fan of your defending into the hairpin. Whichever side I chose, just weren't leaving me any space, and I had to switch last minute. I almost died. So.
Now we'll
Anyways,
go to Google.
yeah, third place in this race. Dougal, make sure you include your audio.
Yeah, sort of.
It wasn't a bad few last laps there, was it? You charged through the field. You could say you were right on the back for the win. Of course, like I said, if the front guys make a mistake, could be your game to win, but it was also a little too late as well. Do you think you would have been a little bit closer if it weren't for the Bama Outlaw battle? If you think you got by quicker, would it have been a bit closer for the win, or would you have got the win? What do you kind of think of that? And your thoughts on the race overall?
To be honest, I think all in all, I don't think that overtake would really have made a difference whether it was done when it was or it was made half lap earlier. Because I made a few mistakes anyway prior to that sort of put me on the back foot. But I think had I gone for the one-stop strategy, it probably could have resulted in a win because I was ahead of them in the first place anyway. But I ruined my tyres in qualifying, so really the only option for me was a two-stop. So as soon as that was nailed on, it was going to be an uphill battle. But again, I made a few mistakes trying to catch the top three on the last few laps that really sort of left me having to be a little bit cautious. Tyres were overheating a little bit, warning away from a penalty, so a little bit close for my liking.
Yeah, no, the two-stop definitely worked better for you than I kind of thought it would. Charged to the field in the last few laps. How'd you enjoy the race overall, and what do you think about the season overall? Do you think it'll be a good competitive season and a good championship battle?
I think overall it can be competitive. Obviously, I'd like to certainly be at the front, which I think if I perform like that today, I think I probably could do. I think China is probably one of my stronger tracks, but there are some I'm definitely stronger on. I think it can be a good competitive season if all goes well.
Congrats on the podium, and Adolf Master, do you have any other questions?
Yes, I do actually. Do you regret not going for the one-stop, knowing how that panned out for Kostag and that F1 boy?
Not really, because I ruined my tyres so much in qualifying. Mainly getting out of the way on the first lap. like on my outlap, just burn them up really. Also think had I been able to go onto my lap on the final lap of qualifying, I probably could have qualified higher up, which would have put me in a better position to potentially do so. But I somehow invalidated my quick lap on my outlap, despite the fact that I exceeded track limits in the middle sector.
Yeah. Anyway, mate, it was a good charge and good luck for this season.
Thank you.
Well, that's the end of the first opening round for all tiers. Make sure you catch the action next week in Global Spec Racing. We'll be in Australia. Hope you enjoyed the action, and we'll see you for next week's race.
See you guys.
See you in there.